Hey everybody, what's going on? It is Christian here with a top 10 list for all of you today, here to initiate our brand new channel, PlaystationFollower. Ever since the masterpiece that is Metal Gear Solid launched on the original PlayStation in 1998, players of the Japanese system have been constantly looking forward to what new experiences the bright minds that work for the Blue brand can offer next. From innovative new IP to reworkings of old ones, PlayStation's first and second party development teams have given their all to push the limits of whichever system they're working on, looking to the future. But right now, let's take a look back to see the most dazzling moments brought on by a game we shoved in our Sony systems. The only defining quality for consideration is it needed to be on a PlayStation console exclusively upon release. Also, this might go without saying, but the wow moments from these games may come from moments towards the end of the game, so spoilers coming up. Number 10, The End, Shadow of the Colossus. This atmospheric PS2 game was minimalistic in both gameplay and story, but all the more powerful because of it. The player assumes the role of Wander, a young man looking to revive his deceased beloved by bringing her to an ancient shrine. A godly voice instructs Wander that he must slay 16 colossi, roaming the land for her to be resurrected. What follows is an emotional journey that makes the player question their actions every time they send a towering beast collapsing to the ground. The stone cold stunner moment comes when you realize that with each colossi you take down, a piece of the ancient being that instructed you to kill the colossi attaches itself to your soul, possessing Wander until he is fully taken over by the ancient being. Sprouting horns and growing to an enormous size, a troop of soldiers brings down the new beast that the player has created. Not only was the realization stunning to see what monster you would become whilst playing, but the final scene of that game is a big WTF moment on its own right. Number 9, he's back at E3 2016, God of War. Myself personally, I've never enjoyed the God of War games. Sure, they're beautiful system seller beat-em-ups with epic boss battles, fantastical Greek lore, and sex-filled minigames. But the real detractor for me was the fact that Kratos is Kratos. Kratos was just a big ball of rage who never breathed for a second. The adrenaline-fueled rush from slaying god to monster that never lets up until the game's end is something I didn't enjoy, being hugely interested in ancient mythology. And it seems PlayStation heard my complaints along with many others, because at this past year's E3 press conference, they opened with a beautiful game set in a wintry forest, following a small child who enters a hunting lodge to reveal the ashen-covered, now bearded, Kratos. The gameplay itself is a complete 360 from the static camera button masher the series has held since its inception on the PS2. Now we have a third-person, over-the-shoulder view akin to something like Tomb Raider or Uncharted that follows Kratos and his son traveling through the icy land they inhabit. The trailer, along with the name, was very strong evidence that this is a quasi-reboot for the series. Kratos is still Spartan, still endured the events of the previous myriad of God of War games, this time living through the ever-expansive stories of Norse mythology. Safe to say, I'm looking forward to a new God of War. Plus, there's a dragon in that trailer. You all saw it. Number 8, we're going back to Shadow Moses, Metal Gear Solid 4. There's literally 9,999,000 billion moments I could have put on this list from the Metal Gear saga, from the tear-jerking Sniper Wolf scene in Metal Gear 1, to the Psycho Mantis fight in Metal Gear 1, or even the discovery that you need information on the CD case to progress in the game from Metal Gear 1. But looking across all the PlayStation endeavors of Hideo Kojima's fantastic game series that I, among many, love to death, there is nothing more shocking than the fan service moment from the fan service game. We go back to Shadow Moses Island from Metal Gear Solid 1. An elderly Snake on his mission to stop whatever it was Liquid Ocelot was trying to destroy or take over in Guns of the Patriots is led to the place where it all began. Well, kinda, because it was Metal Gear on the MSX and Metal Gear 2, but that's a different list too. Shadow Moses. Snake must travel through some of the most iconic stages from the series, from the location of the Sniper Wolf fight, the helicopter, the beginning stage of the first Metal Gear, all coming to a crescendo in arguably the most epic moment from the series, piloting Metal Gear Rex from the first game against your clone brother piloting Metal Gear Ray from MGS2. Bad ass. Number 7, The Gladiators, Kingdom Hearts. Disney is one of the most iconic entertainment conglomerates in the history of humankind. There's little disputing that, so it's natural that there's bound to be some weird experiments at Disney, from rides to games. List off a few things that Disney reminds you of. Go ahead, I'll give you some time. Done? I'll bet to guess that Final Fantasy was towards the end or not even on that list. It doesn't make sense, it shouldn't make sense, but it works beautifully. This PS2 game is still as crazy as it sounds today, but back then, at the height of Final Fantasy fever, we all ate it up. You play as Sora, an original character that gets sucked into the worlds of the classic Disney movies that just so happen to have Final Fantasy characters sprinkled throughout. Really, the series is just imagination at its finest, but seeing it all work together in such a beautiful manner is mind-blowing. Squall's and Asuma's Sora and Goofy, Aerith talks to Sora in a manner that makes any Final Fantasy VII fan cry, and the granddaddy surprise of them all rests in the game's Colosseum mode in the Hercules world. On the way to becoming heroes, the trio of Sora, Donald, and Goofy must go up against none other than Cloud Strife in this deathmatch arena. Nothing could top that. Maybe, I don't know, fighting Sephiroth. Oh wait, you do fight Sephiroth. The one-winged angel is near impossibly to beat, so defeating him with the iconic Keyblade is something you can feel free to gloat about amongst your friends for a long time. Number 6, The Finger, Heavy Rain. So this one is tough to explain without spoiling the entire game and explaining in detail the plot of it, but Quantic Dream's masterclass PS3 game is full of dark, grim moments that really make you question your morals and ask, what would you do to save someone you love? And you're asked just that when a moment in the game requires you to cut off your own finger in order to make sure the person you're attempting to save from the game's origami killer gets a longer chance to live. The worst part is you have to do it yourself. You feel the pain of the character you play with each cut through your own flesh and bone in an effort to save your own flesh and blood. Number 5, The Journey. Here we have the masterpiece of art given to us from that game company called That Game Company. Journey is really self-explanatory. You're a wanderer in a vast and beautifully crafted desert environment. Traveling across the land to reach your destination is heightened by every memorable scene or vast landscape you come across. I know I said spoilers for this list, but Journey is something every PlayStation fan needs to experience. No video, discussion, or viewing of what you encounter in Journey does justice to the raw emotion the game appeals to when you play it. Number 4, The Party Crasher. Crash Bandicoot. I, among many others on the internet, shared a Tim Geddes moment of excitement and outburst of happiness when I heard those steel drums being played, only to be followed by Sean Layton walking out with the shadow of Crash following his presence, leading to an announcement that Crash 1, 2, and 3 are being fully remastered for the PS4. Now isn't that smashing? Or crashing. The Bandicoot held a special place in my heart growing up as his series, along with that of Spyro the Dragon, reached great heights on the PlayStation 1, only to progress in a downward spiral on each preceding console. Here's hoping that this sells like all-day breakfast hotcakes and gives us Crash 4, hopefully some chance at Spyro getting the same treatment. Number 3, Uncharted 2 is Uncharted 1 but better. Uncharted 2. Uncharted 2, what a game. This will not be the last time that this game gets brought up on this channel, believe me. But if we ever had a reason to bring it up, it's for this list. Uncharted 2 was one of the first games I experienced when I finally got my PS3, and holy lord, I was blown away. Not only did it top the original Drake's Fortune, but it added bigger set pieces, a crazier supernatural twist, and an angry European villain. What's not to love? But it wasn't until I decided to revisit the games leading up to the release of Uncharted 3 where I realized that after beating Uncharted 1 and 2, I played the same story twice over. That's not a knock on Uncharted 2 at all. The simple fact is that Uncharted 1 and 2 have very similar plots and structures down to the twists, but Uncharted 2 is a refinement of the concepts and ideas Naughty Dog originally brought to the table in the first Uncharted. It wasn't until Drake's Deception that we got a truly unique Uncharted tale. Number 2, Midgar is only the beginning. Final Fantasy VII. If you're like me, you caught onto the Final Fantasy train a bit later in life, but oh damn does this series have surprises in store for the uninitiated. Upon blowing up the Mako reactor and scurrying off to the Avalanche headquarters, Cloud runs into the innocent Aerith, who has an OMG moment in her own right later on in the game, but that's a different list for a different time. Keep in mind that this game came out in the 90s on PlayStation's hardware exclusively. Not even the N64 and its expansion pack could handle the vast size of this game. When riding Cloud's motorcycle in that epic cinematic scene, players are left wondering what's going to happen next in Midgar. Instead, they're met with a world map that is expansive as any other Final Fantasy game that came before. Forests, towns, caves, and mountains all await you as you go out to explore Gaia and leave the smoggy skyscrapers of Midgar behind. Number 1, The Last of Us. The ending. Nothing more controversial may have come from the lineup that the PS3 touted by its end than the extremely divisive ending of The Last of Us. Big spoilers ahead. After murdering the doctors in the Firefly camp along with Marlene, you as Joel carry the unconscious Ellie in your arms to the overgrown freedom you've come to know in the past hours of experiencing Naughty Dog's masterpiece. In the following scene, players take control of Ellie as her and Joel hike up hillside to return to the dam base of Joel's brother Tommy. At the top, Ellie confronts Joel and asks him about what happened when she was supposed to go under the knife. Selfishly, Joel looks to her and in a villainous way lies to Ellie, saying that it didn't work, but there's still hope for a cure in different people, when in reality the entire team who could have saved the Earth is dead at the hands of Joel. It's unclear whether or not Ellie knows it's a lie, but she gives a hesitant okay before the game cuts to its title card, leaving us watering at the mouth for what's to come. So that about does it for all of these OMG moments. I hope you liked this video. Be sure to share it and like it if you did. It helps us out a ton. Be sure to spread us out there so people know Follower is now tackling PlayStation. Comment down below and let us know what some of your favorite moments from PlayStation games are. With that being said, greatness awaits, and I'll see you guys in the next video.